Let's talk about Bitcoin. Man, Bitcoin's been crazy here. Last few days, new highs after Donald Trump won the election. The cryptocurrency's up by, I think, like 40% almost in a month. Doug Flynn is here, Flynn Zito Capital Management, and I don't know if it ever hit it, but it was close to 90,000, right? Thoughts on Bitcoin?
Yeah, I mean, this is all about sort of the risk-on trade and the friendly nature in which the Trump presidency is seen with Bitcoin. He's said he's going to promote a pro-Bitcoin cabinet, and he's promised a strategic national Bitcoin reserve. So all those things say, well, you know, it already had Bitcoin. Interestingly, already has the market capitalization, meaning the worth, more than the entire silver market.
Right.
So, you know, 5 times this, and it's as big as gold.
Are you a Bitcoin aficionado yourself, or are you one of these kind of Wall Street guys who said, this is nonsense and missed the whole thing?
Look, it's not an investment. It's speculation. There's no inherent worth of it. What it is, you know, only worth what somebody else is willing to pay you for.
Which right now is a lot.
But it really does. Yeah, exactly. And so, like, if you think about the VIX, which is something, the VIX, you can look up, that's considered a fear indicator. When that spikes, fear is rising. Bitcoin really has become the greed indicator, if you will. And the higher it goes, the more animal spirits are being unleashed with people and the thoughts of how things are going to go across everything in the economy. And so this is a proxy for that. And so from that perspective, it can be used in that way. But, you know, it's all about when do you get rid of it? And so having a small percentage certainly can make sense. But all into anything can certainly add a lot of risk.
All right, let me talk about something boring for the next bit, since Bitcoin is so exciting, and that people should talk more about it. Maybe they get bored, but nobody ever talks about the national debt, right? We don't talk about our debt and deficits enough, I think, in my view, but we were looking at the numbers just on the debt, and it's gone up. Under both presidents, everybody talks about how much Trump spent for a Republican. He did the first time around. The debt increased by $7.8 trillion. But Biden, new numbers show, has increased the debt by $8.1 trillion. Is anybody ever going to start caring about this? And what happens if we don't?
The number that's shocking to me is every 100 days we're going to add $1 trillion to this. And
it's crazy.
So it is.
But it's been the story forever. You know, we've done a million stories, and then everybody says, well, and then nobody ever does a thing about it. But what could happen?
I mean, it is unsustainable. At some point, there's a day of reckoning.
Right.
When that is, I don't know. The only thing that gives me any hope is that if you look at after World War II, when we had a similar circumstance in terms of the amount of debt because we were rebuilding the entire world, the only way you get out of it is to grow your way out of it. So if you can outpace your growth and just put a line on spending, just at some point, even if you don't increase it, just try to get a hold on it. That's the only way you really have a chance to get out of here.
Yeah.
But if not, if we keep going in the same spiral, that's the concern about the U.S. dollar remaining the reserve currency. And then Bitcoin is one of the reasons why it's getting so popular, because if that happens, that's going to be a problem. So I don't know.
That's end of the empire type of stuff. So we'll leave that for another day, but that's what they talk about. All right, thank you, Doug. As always, Doug Flynn there.